Our bosses surely have expectations out of us. Now, how we live up to those expectations is going to be a vital factor in determining our success or the lack of it in an organization. Now, when it comes to forecasting or anticipating our boss's expectations, it is easier said than done. I assess it's most difficult to do. Nevertheless, my observation has been individuals, working professionals, and people who have gone on to achieve a lot in their professional lives. This one quality has been existent, especially with those who have managed to maintain an excellent relationship with his or her boss. This quality of anticipating expectations or forecasting one's boss's expectations. And that's what can be a vital factor pertaining to your success in an organization. Because as I believe, your success in an organization, one of the key factors in terms of your growth in an organization is going to be your boss. So now, how are you going to anticipate or forecast your boss's expectations? So there are 6 action points or thoughts I would share with you. Now, as I mentioned, these 6 thoughts or points may not be easy to implement. However, even if you're in a position to implement 20% of it and derive some outcome out of it, then I think you're successful in ensuring that you've been able to forecast or anticipate your boss's expectations. So going one by one, pertaining to these 6 steps as to how you could anticipate your boss's expectations. The first point, what you will need to understand is understand your boss's priorities. What are her or his goals? That's going to be extremely vital. Based on that, you will have to outline or decide in terms of how you can contribute for your boss to achieve her or his goals, targets, or achieve his or her priorities. That's going to be vital. The second point is going to be understanding the challenges your bosses faces. The challenges that he or she faces, that's going to be extremely vital. So based on that, you can try to be a catalyst in terms of helping her or him overcome those challenges. So somewhere you will have to don the hat of being a problem solver and address the challenges that your boss is facing. And in case you are able to do that, then let me tell you, you would have a very special place from your boss's perspective. The third element is understanding your boss's leadership style. And that plays a very vital role in any forecasting or any estimation that you need to do. Now, when it comes to understanding your boss's leadership style, try to understand whether he's more of a democratic or authoritarian leader, someone who possibly likes one-on-one interaction or possibly limited one-on-one interaction or more communication through email and formal modes of communication, whether he or she likes to get into the depth of any information or data or possibly prefers only a summary. You will have to understand all of it and accordingly have to manage that and communicate along with your boss accordingly. So understanding your boss's leadership style and communication approach is going to be extremely vital because each boss and each individual is different from one another, and trying to understand is going to be very vital, especially if you want to forecast what your boss is expecting out of you. The fourth element is going to be pertaining to your and your boss's interactions. So one point you'll have to understand is from your interactions with your boss, your key takeaways. It's always good that you can make a note of it somewhere, either digitally or within a diary or in a notepad. So whatever you're trying to kind of comprehend and document, that's going to be extremely vital. Because many a times our interactions with our bosses can give us cues, and forecasting, estimation, and trying to find out in advance what your boss expects. One point is going to be extremely important is to obtain cues. So just like a detective, how a detective obtains cues and works upon it, So for us to do this forecasting, which is not the most easiest of tasks, you would have to pick up cues. And the best way to pick up those cues is to reflect and deliberate on your interactions with your boss. So if you make notes or you document certain points, then definitely you will get certain cues in terms of how you can forecast your boss's expectations out of you. The fifth point is pertaining to feedback. Always be open and request your boss for feedback, because that's going to be extremely vital for you to clearly understand what your boss expects out of you. Because many a times, this issue in terms of us not grasping or understanding what our boss expects out of us is because we don't take the feedback in the right way, or we obtain feedback as and when it's given to us. However, you have to be proactive. So in case you have to succeed and especially manage your boss effectively, forecast her or his expectations, you will have to be proactive. So you will have to proactively go ahead and seek feedback from your boss, and that's going to be extremely vital. The final point, in addition to feedback, also proactively provide updates to your boss. Ensure that the channel of communication with your boss is always open, and you always or definitely focus on providing updates wherever your boss needs to be maintained in the loop, rather than your boss chasing you for something. You will need to ensure that you give it to your boss, or you provide whatever information or data to your boss before he or she asks for it. That's going to be extremely vital. So these are the 6 steps, and as I told, these are not easy to implement. However, even if you're able to implement a part of it, I'm sure you will derive success. So summarizing these 6 points one by one in terms of forecasting your boss's expectations out of you. The first is understand your boss's priorities. 2, also comprehend his or her challenges. That's going to be extremely vital. The third element is understand your boss's leadership and communication style. That's going to be extremely vital. The next point is going to be ensure that you obtain feedback. Then also focus on updates. And last, however not least, also try to get maximum cues from your interactions or your past interactions with your boss. Because as it's very clearly mentioned, and there's a proverb which says that your past holds the key to your future. So from your past interactions with your boss as well as your present interactions, try to decipher the future, do some crystal ball gazing, and try to analyze or comprehend or forecast as to what your boss expects out of you. Thanks very much for your time. All the very best.